when time is of the essence. When every second rides the line of life or death.
Sometimes you can be on the call for a few hours.
That's the moment Jennifer Cowan is there.
We're on the road a lot.
18 years as an EMT in Clay County, Tennessee. She's seen it all traveling these county roads. These days, though, Cowan's biggest concern has nothing to do with the patients she serves and everything to do with the ambulance she's driving. What's your biggest concern?
Breaking down with the patient in the back.
She's worried because Clay County has been waiting more than a year for a new ambulance. As a result, they're being forced to keep older rigs on the road longer. They're breaking down more often and have more miles on them. How often do you worry about a truck breaking down?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
To make matters worse, the only hospital in Clay County shut down in 2018. The closest ER is now 20 miles away. A typical round-trip call lasts around 90 minutes. Meaning ambulances like this are the best access residents in this rural community have to emergency care.
We are their hospital. We're their ER until we can get them to a facility.
So this should have been taken out of service years ago?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Andrew Hall is the county's EMS director. He told us they have 4 ambulances in Clay County to cover an area of 259 square miles. Models from 2010, 2012, 2015, and 2019. We saw firsthand how time is taking its toll on these vehicles. Between them, 688,000 miles. When was the last time you got a new ambulance?
Our new ambulance was a 2019 model.
It was a long time ago.
Yes.
It's not that Clay County doesn't have the money to buy a new ambulance. They purchased one in March of 2022. But Scripps News has discovered a severe shortage in ambulance chassis is leaving communities nationwide like Clay County waiting years for these vital first response trucks.
We're looking at, our next ambulances are 5 years down the road.
5 years?
Yeah.
This is far from just a rural issue. Our investigation found communities from coast to coast are years behind in new ambulance delivery. The search for how far-reaching the problem is led us here to Sumner, Iowa.
So you see all the walls are being built, and then this is where the body comes together. They're welding all the side walls.
Randy Smith is the president of Lifeline Emergency Vehicles, which manufactures ambulances from the ground up. Each of these, wherever they go, are going to save lives somewhere.
Yes, and every one of the ambulances you see are built for specific customers.
Before COVID, he told us they were making 250 ambulances a year. Now it's closer to 220. The reason for that slowdown? Chassis that come from automakers like Ford and GM. But Scripps News has found that when the pandemic started, automakers started using those chassis and other components for vehicles like pickup trucks, which automotive analysts say is more lucrative. Does it worry you knowing that, there are these EMTs and communities out there that just don't have the equipment they need right now?
It's extremely concerning, the fact that we know a lot of our customers are running ambulances way past their life expectancy. So the reliability of the product that is out there on the road is very concerning.
Is there a point where this becomes a life or death situation for some places?
I could foresee that, definitely.
It's not just new ambulances impacted by all of this. Some communities have been waiting upwards of 2 years for ambulances to get repaired because chassis aren't available. So you just want priority?
We want priority. We should have just been able to raise our hand once, and this should have been recognized.
As president of the American Ambulance Association and former first responder, Randy Strozig has been raising the alarm about the shortage of chassis for years. Back in 2022, his organization sent a letter to Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, essentially begging the Department of Transportation, or DOT, to push automakers to prioritize getting chassis and chip technology to ambulance manufacturers before vehicles like consumer pickup trucks, saying the issue was at, quote, a crisis level. But DOT officials told Scripps News it was not in the agency's jurisdiction, adding they can't control automakers' production decisions. What's frustrated you the most?
You would think we wouldn't have had to jump up and down.
Because this is about public safety.
Public safety.
Our Scripps News investigation pulled numbers from the National Emergency Medical Services Information System, a DOT database containing details of nearly every ambulance activation in the United States. We found that in 2021, there were a reported 13,540 mechanical failures that prevented ambulances from responding. In 2022, that number was 14,905, a more than 10% increase. Is this a crisis for some communities?
Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
If you're a small town, middle America, and you've got 3 or 4 ambulances and you lose one for whatever reason, think about that. You're now 25% down or 30% down.
If they decided to, I'm not saying I would want a full year's supply of chassis in 2 weeks, but they have the capabilities of doing that.
They're just not.
They're just, right.
Because it's not a lucrative market for these automakers.
Correct.
In a statement to Scripps News, the leading supplier of chassis, Ford, blamed the pandemic shutdown for creating this problem, saying, quote, "From our vantage point, Ford is not the current constraint in the ambulatory supply chain. Beginning last year, we allocated more chassis to address a vehicle backlog created by pandemic-driven supply chain issues and demand." At the end of the day, ambulance manufacturers say the decision by automakers to not prioritize the needs of first responders in this country is leaving EMTs with aging, unreliable equipment. So how many miles are on this truck?
253,000.
253,000.
Yeah.
In Clay County, this ambulance has so many miles on it, they've had to get special permission from the state of Tennessee just to keep it on the road.
173,000 miles on it.
That's a lot of miles.
It's too many miles.
So many miles that Jennifer Cowan is worried she won't be able to guarantee her ambulance will be up for the job when the next call comes in. What's it like just having to wait?
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. We can't help people if we can't get to people.